Oh, Jamar Chase with the dive. Because Garrett Wilson's wide open. Garrett Wilson, touchdown Barrett. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video here in the World Juice channel, and welcome back to another episode of the Honolulu Desperados. That is right, and it's not just any normal episode. It is the first ever playoff episode here in Honolulu. That is right, it is year number 2, and our Relocation franchise has made the playoffs. We just missed out on the postseason last season in year number 1, our inaugural year, but we got to it this year. We went 14-3, had a fantastic season in the regular season, and now we look to continue the dominance, continue the ride all the way to the Super Bowl, hopefully. We got to get through some tough competition in the NFC side of the bracket. It's going to be a crazy one. I don't know how long the video is. Obviously, you guys know because you can see the timestamp, but I have no idea how long this video is going to go. We will play the entirety of the postseason, whether we get through we get eliminated in the divisional round, or we move on, we get eliminated in the NFC title game, yada, 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 until we get to the Super Bowl and we play that. So either this game is going to, this episode is going to see if we win the Super Bowl, or we get knocked out depressingly in the first round. That's a possibility. But wherever we go, it's going to be considered a success because we've made the playoffs, which is one of our big goals for the early seasons here in Honolulu. So without further ado, it's time to go see if our Desperados can make a huge run in the playoffs. If you're excited, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, join the Juice Club. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. I truly appreciate you guys stopping by. And let's go see how our Honolulu Desperados do in the playoffs. All right, this is the squad. You guys are familiar with it. If you're curious about how everyone did in the regular season, stat-wise and all that good stuff, go watch last episode, and at the end, we went over all of the regular season stats and stuff. So we're not going to do it again here. Just go back and watch that video, and you can see all of those stats for everybody. One thing I want to point out before we get started is somebody commented and said that we should put Matchup Nightmare on Puka Nacua. So that is what we have. Puka Nacua, playing up to an 88 overall, now has Matchup Nightmare as one of his superstar abilities. So that is a good comment, good shout out from whoever you are. I apologize, I don't remember who your name is or what your name is, but thank you for the shout out. You know who you are. So this is what the squad looks like. 14-3 season, the offense, the defense, we are ready to go. I like everything that we have working here. I think we are a Super Bowl contender. I think we are a dangerous team led by this man right here, AR, Anthony Richardson. Hopefully, he will go up to superstar development after the season. I don't know. We'll find out. But the team is really good. We've got a great offensive line. We got great weapons all around. The defense is unbelievable with the 3 captains, Sauce Gardner, Micah Parsons, and Fred Warner. And then we got nice complementary pieces with everybody else, Greg Rousseau, Budda Baker, Jalen Thompson, unbelievable. But the 49ers stand in our way. I'm terrified of the San Francisco 49ers. It's going to be us versus the Niners, and then the Eagles versus the Cowboys in the divisional round on the NFC side. And then on the AFC side, it's Bills, Ravens, and Bengals, Chargers here in year number 2. If for some reason, if we get knocked out in this game or the NFC Championship, then to make the video a little bit longer, I will go over my draft board that I have put together. I have put together a little bit of a draft board. I went through every position and looked through some of the players, and I have put together some of the guys that I enjoyed and I think could be pretty good. So if for some reason, barring anything crazy, we lose against either the Niners or in the NFC title game against whoever we come up against there, then we'll go over that. If we don't and we make it to the Super Bowl, then we will go over that draft board in the off-season episode, which will come up next. So I think it's time to stop stalling. It's time to jump in. We have a home game because we were the 1 seed. So we have a home game against the 49ers, and we were division champs, so we would have had a home game anyway. It's a rivalry game. It's a division game in the divisional. It suits it. 10-7 versus 14-3. Oh, do we need this bad? We need to get a win here. First playoff win in franchise history could be on the horizon. Here we go. Big first quarter drive here in Honolulu. It's a sloppy one. It's wet. It's cold. It's playoff football in Hawaii for the first time ever. And here is the first snap for Honolulu in the playoffs. It's a Bijan Robinson handoff, and it's a huge 11-yard carry. I thought since it's the first ever playoff game in franchise history, we might as well go out and rock the all-black unis, because we're trying to instill fear into the hearts of the San Francisco 49ers, so might as well rock the scary all-black uniforms. Unfortunately, Anthony Richardson's first playoff career pass is an incomplete one to David Njoku. This is not going to be easy. This is the San Francisco 49ers. They may have 10 wins, but they are not a 10-win football team by any means, and I thought Bijan Robinson was going to just absolutely explode through that line for a huge touchdown, because he had nobody by him if he would have just been able to get away. And that's going to be some sort of Houdini act from Anthony Richardson to get that ball to Bijan, and Bijan has been the main guy on this drive, which is not surprising. It's Bijan Robinson. He's really, really good. All right, so Puka has matchup nightmare now, but that's only against tight ends, I think. So we're not going to go to him, but we are going to get picked off. Okay, I was trying to get that to, I think that was Devontae Smith, and the ball just didn't go as far. Maybe that was because I was throwing it on the run, and it just, I don't know, did not go the way I wanted it to. We get picked off here in the playoffs. Not a good start. I'm going to let the CPU handle it. See if we can get another score. There we go. So we tie it back up. It is a 3rd down and 14 for the Niners here, late second quarter. All right. I don't know why the pop-ups are. I thought I had that turned off. To the sideline. He steps out of bounds. What are you doing? You had a first down. Sauce Gardner got beat. It's 4th and 1. I don't know what they're going to do. They will kick the field goal. Okay. So we give the ball back to the Niners. It's 3rd and 7 now. Down by 3. Ugh. From the 40 or 35, excuse me. Micah Parsons got to make an impact here. He can't. He gets stuck. Purdy's running. Brock Purdy somehow doesn't fumble the football. It's 4th and inches. Kaiser White makes the tackle. I don't know how he didn't fumble that football. And they scored at the end of the half. We are now down by a 10-point game here in the divisional round against the San Francisco 49ers. I told you this wasn't going to be easy. Just because they're I screwed that up so badly. Just because they're a 10-win team doesn't mean they're not good. It's the San Francisco 49ers for a reason. So we had to punt the ball back to them. They scored again. Oh, and they almost, they kicked a field goal. It's 4th quarter. I think our playoff hopes are just destroyed here. It's the late 4th quarter. I don't know if me throwing that pick had anything to do with us losing this game, potentially, but it certainly didn't help. And I think the 49ers are just that good. It sucks that we had to get matched up with them. We have beaten them before. We've seen that in this series. We've beaten them before. But it just sucks that we had to get matched up with them in the playoffs. That's a huge catch by David Njoku. I don't know if he got 2 feet down, but I think they're going to count it. Yeah, they counted it, and it's going to be, come on, get the stop here. We can't let them score. They scored. The exact thing we didn't need them to do, and it's getting late here in Honolulu. Throw that to the side. That's going to be Devontae Smith. Maybe I should have done a run after the catch and turned up the field. Maybe that would have been a good idea. I don't know. But 30-14, I think, ladies and gentlemen, our season is ending here in our first ever playoff game. So year number 3 might have to be the chance that we go for our first ever playoff win. Unless some absolute utter miracle happens. David Njoku got hit hard on the back there, but he held onto the ball. I don't see any miracle happening here. Another big catch, Njoku. Down to the 8. I mean, we're moving the football, but it might be a little bit too late. I'll run with Richardson. I'm going to have the room here to score the touchdown. Anthony Richardson, big touchdown in the playoffs. 30-21. Is it possible? The defense needs to step up. The defense needs to step up, and I don't see them doing it here. and it's not going to happen. We lose in the divisional round to the San Francisco 49ers. They were just too much for us. Their offense was too good. Sucks that we got matched up with them. The number 1 seed will fall in the first round of the playoffs. Well, in our first round of the playoffs. Oh, that's tough. 30-22. We fought back, but it just wasn't meant to be. 19 for 27, 231, and 2 touchdowns for Anthony Richardson, but he did have that 1 pick that I threw. Maybe that could have changed things if I didn't throw that pick. I don't know. I think the 49ers, I don't think it would have mattered. I think the 49ers were always going to be better than us today. 16 for 82 for Bijan Robinson, no touchdowns. Richardson did have that touchdown, the final play that we saw. And Njoku had a big game, 5 for 89 with 2 touchdowns in the game. Defensively, 9 tackles for Kaiser White, 10 for Fred Warner, 9 for Rousseau. We got to the backfield a lot with a lot of tackles for loss, and we sacked Purdy a bunch of times. The rookie Shamel Kellum with 2 sacks, 1 for White, 1 for Rousseau, and 1 for Parsons. We didn't pick off Purdy at all. They picked us off 1 time, and that is the ball game. Little bit disappointing, but it's the first ever playoff appearance for the boys. So, I mean, I know we were the 1 seed and we were probably favored in that game, but that's just the breaks, man. That is just playoff football. It was sloppy. You got an inexperienced quarterback in his 2nd season, his first ever playoff game. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You can't be too mad. I still think that this was a successful season for us, all things considered. Anthony Richardson does make the Pro Bowl as the 2nd quarterback, so take that for what it is. Bijan is the starting running back, so that's 2 guys. We've got David Njoku makes the tight end, so he's a 3rd Pro Bowler. Everybody's going Pro Bowling. Then we got Grubbs, the rookie, makes it as a center. Rousseau and Parsons, that's 6. That's 6 Desperados. I know I only have 5 fingers up, but that's because I have my hand on the controller here. And that looks like it's it, unless I missed somebody, but I don't think I did. Maybe I did. I don't know. But we have 6 Pro Bowlers. I'd say that's pretty successful. And look who it is. The 49ers have made the Super Bowl. So, all things considered, you can't be too upset that the 49ers beat us because they are unbelievably good in Madden, and they've made the Super Bowl. So, from wild card team to Super Bowl possible champion, will they do it? And they did. They blew out the Chargers. So, we lose to the eventual Super Bowl champions. There was just no way we were ever going to beat the 49ers this season. It was just not going to happen. They destroyed the Chargers. They make the Super Bowl and they win it. Purdy is the MVP of the Super Bowl. Joe Burrow wins MVP of the league. Doug Peterson, Coach of the Year. Bijan and Micah Parsons are the players of the year, both on offense and defense. So we sweep the player of the year. That's awesome. Which means Bijan should go up to X Factor because I'm pretty sure if you win an award, you get a development upgrade. So Bijan Robinson will be an X Factor next season. That's huge. Dalton Porter, the quarterback for the Saints, wins Offensive Rookie of the Year, and Jose Crawford, the outside linebacker for the Ravens, wins Defensive Rookie of the Year. So those are your Year 2 award winners. Big award for Bijan Robinson. That is where we will stop the simulation. Now, let's go take a look at progress. Development trade upgrades. Yes! Yes! Anthony Richardson is now a superstar development quarterback. Oh my God, that is much needed. Much, much needed. We'll give him quick draw, and we'll give him tight out, I guess, for right now. He's too low of an overall to get anything good. But that is so big for AR. He's already got the throw power. He needs to get his short accuracy and his awareness up. But those will come in time. He's got the speed. He's the franchise guy. And now he's got the franchise ability. He's got superstar ability. He is ready to go. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so happy he got it. I was a little bit worried he wouldn't get it, but he does get it. And I was correct. Bijan Robinson does go up to Superstar X Factor after winning the Offense Player of the Year. And we will give him probably Ankle Breaker for right now. Give him Jukebox. We'll give him... What else can we give him? Probably Matchup Nightmare for sure, because I do throw out of the backfield a bunch. We'll give him Running Back Apprentice so we can make hot routes, and then Human Joystick for sure. So Bijan's going to be unstoppable when he gets to a 99 and has all the good abilities. Oh my God, Bijan's going to be so good. But now he's an X Factor. He looks unbelievably talented. I am super, super happy that we have gotten to this point. Oh man, I'm excited. Okay, so any other upgrades that I noticed? Jalen Waddle's still superstar. The offensive line's still the same. And Njoku and Freiermuth are still the same. And I think all of the receivers are still the same. Puka's still superstar. J-Mo, Josh Downs, Quentin Johnston, they're all the same. So nothing else on the offense except for Bijan and Anthony Richardson. On defense, nothing's changed, I don't think. Brissy is still star. Kellum is superstar. Did he have that? Did I draft a superstar development tight D tackle? No. Okay. He was just star, but he does go up because he won Defensive Rookie of the Year. He must have won the NFC. No, NFC, excuse me. He must have won the NFC Defensive Rookie of the Year. That's why he goes up to superstar. He just didn't win the total Rookie of the Year. Okay, so Shamel Kellum has got himself superstar development. That's so big. So big. Because now we have 2 franchise D tackles. We obviously have our franchise pass rushers with Rousseau and Parsons. We have a franchise corner, and Deron Bland's really playing well too. Nobody else on the corners go up, I don't think. Buda Baker's still pretty good. Uche, I would like to see it go up a little bit higher in overall, but he's fine for right now. Fred Warner's good. Kaiser White we could look to replace, but I do like Kaiser White. I'm surprised, honestly, he didn't go up to star development. And then we've got Hitchens, who we drafted last year, and obviously Trayvon Walker, and then Jalen Thompson and Gomes, who we took in the first round last year. So the team is looking really, really good. And I'm so happy that we got the development upgrade for Anthony Richardson. So now, before we end the video, we will take a look at the draft board. I promised that if we got knocked out in the playoffs before the Super Bowl, we would take a look at our draft board. So here it is. I have gone through every single position, and I have favorited and added people that I think could be steals, think that we could take in the first round. All kinds of different players that could be good, whatever, are on this board. So we'll start with the first position that I've added. I didn't add any quarterbacks. We're not in the market for a quarterback. We have Anthony Richardson. I've added Tony Stevenson, a running back from Oregon State, 5'10", and the reason I've added him because he has the potential of great to elite speed and agility. So Tony Stevenson could be a solid running back. He could replace Jaylen Warren, who we're going to lose in this offseason. And then there's this guy, Leslie Green, who doesn't have the speed that Stevenson has, but he's got the better ball carrying vision and the carrying. So I'm intrigued by the two of them. And more importantly, Leslie Green, because he's the day 3 guy. So he'd be probably more in our territory of grabbing. And then receivers, I've added a few receivers to this board. A lot of them have great to elite speed. We're not going to go over all of them because they're pretty similar in what they are. But there's a couple interesting guys. 5'8" Matt Carter from Charleston Southern. 6'2" Derek Holiday. We're not really in the market for receivers, so I wouldn't really think that any of these guys are going to be absolute must grabs or trade ups or anything like that, because we have great receivers already. But there's some guys that intrigue me, so we'll keep an eye on them. Tight end, same deal with receiver. We're not really in the market for receiver with Njoku and Freiermuth, but all these guys have great to elite speed, and they all have pretty decent attributes. So same thing, receiver. We'll keep an eye on them. Left tackles, I could be persuaded to grab ourselves a left tackle. Carlos McCune looks pretty good physically and is a pretty decent pass blocker. Not as much of a run blocker, but you can always develop that stuff. Alex Knott is not half bad. That's funny, laugh. He's good physically, and he's a pretty decent run blocker and an okay pass blocker, at least for what we know right now. And then you got Dion Ewing, who I think is the best of both worlds. He's a better pass blocker, or at least potentially a better pass blocker than he is a run blocker. But he's 6'5", 311, looks pretty good. All these guys could be options for us. We'll see how the board or the draft plays out. Then we've got Zaire Shepard, who we have 85% completion on, because I think I used my Week 11 stuff on him, if I remember correctly. He looks really good physically, and he looks pretty good skill-wise as well. He might be our second-round pick. If he falls to us, Or maybe we trade up to get him. I don't know. But Zaire Shepherd looks really, really good. And then I found this guy when I was just going over the adding people to the board. Jack St. Clair. Not the best athlete, but his skills are pretty decent. He could be a nice little 3rd or 4th round pickup. And then we move to the centers. We already drafted Grubbs last year, but it's Madden. You can always move centers to guard pretty much. So we could grab one of these guys, turn him to a guard, and be pretty solid. If there's one that stands out to me. And this guy's a really, really good pass blocker, or run blocker, I mean. He looks really good, both pass blocking and run blocking. Chase Holcomb could be a guy that I really think about. Then you got Clay Burrell, if I could actually click on him. Clay Burrell, or Burrell, I guess it could be, who looks decent physically, and then skill-wise, not as good as the other dude, Holcomb, but he's round 3 to 4. The other guy's round 1 to 2. There's obvious reasons why. Cody Gerdes? I don't know. Gerds? Good physical athlete, the best out of the bunch, and skill-wise, solid, but he's a day 3 guy. Nice value, I would think. Right guards, you've got a couple options here. We're not really in the market for offensive linemen in general, but I'm always in the market for depth on the offensive line. This guy's a really good physical athlete and a pretty decent pass blocker, so we'll see how it plays out. J.C. Knowles out of Louisville. Little bit less athletic than the other dude that we just took a look at, but good run blocker, potentially, and a round 1 to 2 guy. We'll see what we do with him. And then I added Kyle Griffin to the list. He's a little bit worse. It keeps going down in terms of athlete level. Probably not going to take him, but it's good to keep an eye on him, see where he gets drafted if we don't take him. And then you got right tackles. Jalen Mobley is a really, really good player. He is really good athletically, and he's a very talented right tackle. We could be in play for him, or we could be in play for this guy, Deshaun Silas, who is a phenomenal athlete and potentially a very good all-around tackle. When I saw this guy, I was like, oh, I have to put him on the board. Absolutely. He looks unreal. So we got to keep our eye on him at the most, or at the least, and I might even use my final workouts before the draft on him, one of them on him, because he looks really, really good. I'm very intrigued by him. Antonio Curtis is another solid tackle, but after seeing Silas, everybody kind of looks a little bit worse. And then you got Zach Weldon from Ohio State, who is a fine enough athlete, but he doesn't really do anything that well. We'll keep an eye on him, but I don't think I'm going to draft him. We're leaning heavily towards taking one of these 2 tackles, and maybe leaning heavily towards Deshaun Silas. We'll see where the mock draft has him going, because he has a round 1 talent, but I'm leaning heavily towards Deshaun Silas. He looks really, really good. On the defensive side of things, the defensive line isn't that deep this year, which is a little bit annoying, but it's not necessarily that bad because we're not necessarily in need of a defensive lineman. We have 2 great tackles and obviously Michael Parsons and Greg Rousseau, so we're not really looking for that, but there are some good athletes at least on the defensive line. Garrison Carmichael, if I remember correctly, was pretty solid. He's got B play rec, B power moves, A tackling. Yeah, he is pretty solid. And then you got Enrique Batista, who is from Ohio State as well. What a name. Good athlete, and power moves, pursuit, tackling, and awareness are all A's. Enrique Batista, okay, we will keep an eye on you, and not just because you're from Ohio State. On the right side, you got David Bishop, who is a really good athlete, and similar to what Batista has, just a little bit less of what Batista has. And then you got Malik Evans, who is a fine athlete, but he doesn't have any power moves. He is a run-stopping D tackle, so it's understandable, but I don't know. Juan Jackson as well, good athlete, good tackling. I don't know. I like Enrique Batista a lot. I really do. And then we got D tackles. I added a few D tackles to this list, but we're not really going to be needing one, especially now that what's his name? Kellum? I forget his name. Kellum, I think, is his name. He's got superstar development after winning NFC Rookie of the Year. So we're not really going to need a D tackle, but I added these guys just in case because Tyrese Barker looks unreal in terms of being an athlete and being a good just pass rusher. So we'll see how he does and where he goes. This mock draft number 5 is going to be really, really big on determining, one, where we draft in the the draft this year, and 2, if we're going to need to trade up or trade down for anybody. So we will see. Percy Sandridge, I added him just because of his name, but he's also a pretty decent athlete. I like Percy as a first name. And then you got Joe Henson, who is solid. He skipped the combine as well. Oh, he hasn't skipped the combine. We haven't got there yet. Oops. Everybody skipped the combine if that's the case. Jamie Searcy, who also is really, really good athlete and pretty solid. I could grab him late first round, late second round, or early second round, and I wouldn't be mad about that. And then the outside linebackers, I added a bunch of these guys because they're pretty fast. None of them really are, like, fantastic in terms of, like, their actual skills, but they're pretty good athletes. Will Holt is a pretty good athlete and a decent skill-wise, and he's around 3 to 4 talent, so he's got some good value to him. Tremaine McNair, same kind of deal. Better athlete than Will Holt is. And I think Chris Wagner was the guy that I was super excited about. Yeah, he's got the elite speed, and he's got the block shed, he's got the pursuit, the tackling, the injury. He's got it all. So Chris Wagner will keep an eye on. And Dwayne Robinson, also good athlete. There's some decent athletes down the board. We'll keep an eye on those guys. Middle linebackers, Bernard Whitaker is also good. There's not like any unbelievably skilled outside linebackers or middle linebackers, but there's a lot of athletes in this class. So we'll keep an eye on. That's why I've got so many guys on my board in each position, because there's a lot of really, really talented, fast players, a lot of raw talent. And you can't teach speed. You can teach the other skills. You can't teach speed. So that's why I've put a lot of these guys on the boards, because you always need speed on the linebacker spot, especially with the receivers and the running backs and the tight ends in the NFL nowadays. So I really like Bobby Rose, by the way. I mean, you got to have speed, so that's why I've added these guys to the board. Lucas Kovacs, I think, was a little bit disappointing. He's not the best athlete, but he does have 8 power moves and 8 pursuit, which is enough for me to put him on the list because he's intriguing enough. Von Vance, I think, was pretty solid, if I remember correctly. Oh, no, I guess he wasn't. I thought, oh, wait, no, I had him on the list because he's 6'6". That's why I put him on there. That's right. 6'6", 250. We could easily put him down on the defensive line, and he would be probably pretty good because he's got B to D block, B to D block shed. He's got B to D hit power, B to D power moves. If we learn a little bit more about him and take him in the 3rd or 4th round, put him on the defensive line, he could be something. Kamani Bayless, speed rusher with elite speed, great to elite speed, but he doesn't really do anything skill-wise that well. He's just, this is the poster boy for raw talent, but doesn't do anything well. That's the poster boy, Amani Bayless from Air Force. He's a military man. And then Nick Wilder, hardly know her. Great speed, or elite speed, and we don't really know much about him, but he looks good from what we do know, but that could all change if he all has C's. And then corners. Obviously, I had to put one of the top players in the class, Johnny Wallace. I mean, we're not going to be in the market for him, or will we? I don't know. He looks so good. A man, A press, A zone, A tackle, B catching. I mean, he's the package. If he was slightly taller, like 6'2", 6'1", he would be the #1 overall pick, guaranteed. He's probably still going to be that. He's so good. I just don't know, 1, if we need him, because we have a lot of good corners, and 2, if we're even going to be in a position to trade up to get him. But if we're not, if we decide not to trade up to get him, because we're obviously not going to have that high of a pick, if we're not going to decide to trade for him, then there are some other corners that I've added that aren't as good, obviously, but maybe could end up being better. There are some very good players in this cornerback class. It's a deep corner class in terms of, like, first-round talent. There are a lot of good corners that we could be in play for. Emmanuel Pierman I like. Kelvin Webster I also like. He's just pretty solid all the way around. And then Joey Howard from Ohio State has the potential to have B to D man. He could have B man, so that's why I added him to it. These are some good corners. Obviously, Johnny Wallace is unbelievable. And I'm assuming that if we found out what his true talent was, it would say top 5, because he is fantastic. Free safeties, Johnny Williams is good, but he's got the A hit power and B block shed, which intrigued me, so I added him to the list. And remember, we have 95% on safeties. So we know a little bit more about these guys than anybody else. And J.C. Whitehead has A block shed, A pursuit, B hit power. He looks more talented than the other guy, but the other guy has the A hit power, which is intriguing because that could be 99. It's probably not, but there's the potential for it to be. But I do think that J.C. Whitehead is the overall better player, and he's 6'3", so that's always a plus. And then the strong safeties, a top 5 guy in Keenan Smith. He honestly doesn't look like unbelievable, but he is very, very good. I mean, he's got A's all across the board. I can see why he's a top 5 talent. But if he had that A zone coverage, then I would absolutely be in on Keenan Smith. And if he had great to elite speed, that kind of worries me a little bit. But he does look like a top 5 talent, but he doesn't look like unreal. You know what I'm saying? He is 6'3" too, so 6'3" also, I should say. Tim Lashley looks pretty good, similar to what the other dude looks like, Keenan Smith. He's just a little bit less of an athlete, I think. And he doesn't have the zone coverage that Smith has. But they're similar players. And then Jimmy Harris, he's also not as tall. Jimmy Harris has the great to elite speed, and he's pretty good all the way around. So he's a pretty all-around good talent. And then James Abbott, just a solid player. I only put him on here because he's got A hit power. That's basically why he's on here. But these two guys are intriguing, that's for sure. I didn't put any kickers. I didn't put any punters on there. So that is my draft board. I've given you guys some information. You know some of my favorites. Next episode, we will find out where we draft on mock draft number 5, and we will decide our game plan from there. If you have any comments or suggestions for who you think I should go after, let me know down below in the comment section, and I will take that in consideration, and we will discuss it in the next episode when we get to that point where we decide who we're going to draft. So that is going to do it for the episode. Unfortunate that we ended it the way that we did with losing to the Giants, the 49ers in the divisional round, but it was the 49ers. They went on to win the Super Bowl. They were a little bit of a sneaky, disguised 10-win team. They weren't really a 10-win team, but that's what they had in the season. They must have had maybe some injuries. I don't know what happened, but that is how the season ends. Season 2, we will look to reload in the offseason. Probably not going to be able to sign anybody in free agency because we have no money, but the draft is going to be pretty important. That is for sure. So be on the lookout for that, and then we will head straight into season number 3 and try to get back to the playoffs and do better this time and actually win our first ever playoff game in franchise history. But thank you guys so much for stopping by and watching. I truly appreciate it. If you enjoyed, leave it a like, subscribe to the channel, join the Juice Club, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.